They were just going to give him they were going to give him the last goodbyes. And then we're going to move on with our life because we had hoped, we had thought, we had prayed, we had believed, but obviously we were wrong. And so now we prepared these ointments and spices, and we're going to come to the grave and we're going to anoint him, and then we're just going to go on with our lives. They had thought that that was the deal. But what I came really to tell you today is that somewhere between our resignation and our preparation to go on with our life, revival will break out. Revival will break out. And if we look at Luke chapter 24, verses 1 through 5, this is the account of, and I'm not going to read it, you can scan it, but this is the account of the women coming to the tomb, and you know the story. The stone is rolled away, and they're afraid because they're thinking someone has stole the body of Jesus, and then the angels appear and say, why are you looking for the living among the dead? Don't you know that he got up? And here's the thing, because he got up on Sunday morning, no matter what your situation is, no matter what your circumstances, no matter what your tragedy is, but because he got up, you can get up. And when did this revival break out? You see, revival broke out and they weren't even aware of it. Sometimes, and you're sitting there, you're agonizing and you're moaning and you're groaning and you're complaining and you're saying, God has forsaken me and God has forgotten about me. Just because he's silent doesn't mean that he's not working on your behalf. Don't you know that God is planning the next revival in your life? I'm sorry for this mic moving around a little bit here. But don't you know that he's preparing for your next and best presentation on the stage of life? I know you've resigned yourself to the fact that you're never going to be nothing, that you're never going to accomplish anything, that your time to shine has already passed, and you just might as well admit and accept the fact that you're going to be who you are, and that you can't rise above your circumstances. But Sunday morning is coming. Aren't you glad that he is not in that tomb right now? When Jesus came to Bethany to raise Lazarus from the dead, he asked Mary whether or not she believed that he could do this, and Mary said, yeah, in the great by and by, no, in the resurrection, yeah, one day we'll see our brother. And Jesus said, hold up. Let me get you straight about one thing, Mary. I am the resurrection. And just like in the word resurrection means stand up. Yes, you've been knocked down. Yes, you've been beat down. Yes, you've been held down. But there's one who can help you stand up, because not only is he in the business of resurrecting, but he is the resurrection incarnate. And when Sunday morning comes in your life, in your circumstances, in your situation, I don't care what it is. You say, no, brother, you don't know my situation. Well, it can't be as significant as death on the cross. And unless you have been dead and in the tomb with a big boulder blocking the tomb, don't tell me that he can't work out your situation. Don't tell me that he can't turn around your circumstances, as y'all saying, late in the midnight hour. When you're depressed, when you're saying nobody knows the trouble that I've seen, he's going to turn that thing around and around and around. Because he is. He's not, the scriptures doesn't say he was, or one day he may be, or possibly he could be. He is the resurrection. And that's what he does on Sunday morning. So we all have Fridays in our lives. Every single one of us, if you live long enough, you're going to have a Friday. But when Friday shows up unexpectedly, you just look up and say, Lord, when's Sunday? Lord, when Sunday comes, I'm going to be delivered. I'm going to be healed. I'm going to be glorified. I'm going to be strengthened. I'm going to be renewed. I'm going to be refreshed. My life is going to turn around. I'm going to be blessed. I'm going to be lifted up when Sunday comes. There's no need for me to get off the course. There's no need for me to be resentful. There's no need for me to resign and say, devil, you got the best hand, I throw mine in. Because I serve a risen Savior. I serve a risen Savior. We serve a risen Savior. And he stands up. He stands up on Sunday morning. Now, Sunday morning is symbolic, and as it is, in this case, he actually rose on Sunday morning. Literally, that was the day of the week, and that's why we meet on Sunday. Because every Sunday is a week from the last time and so on, going all the way back to that first resurrection day. And it should be a reminder to us that the devil don't have the last say. He does not have. Yes, you lost your job. Maybe God's got a better one for you. Maybe God's got a business for you. Yes, you lost that man. Maybe he needed to go. He can bring life from death. He said, when he was speaking about his impending death, he said, unless a corn of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it abides alone. But if it dies, you will bring forth much fruit. That's John chapter 11, verse 24. That's just a reference. So Sunday morning, it's coming. Yes, I know I ran into a few Fridays in my day. I can tell you that. I've ran into a few Fridays. So I'm not here preaching or teaching something theoretical. I've given you one R that happens on Sunday, and that's revival. Your life is coming back. Your health is coming back. Your strength is coming back. Your finances are coming back. Because God is in the business of reviving. That's what he does. Don't you get off the course. Don't you get angry with God. Don't you get an attitude with God. And you know what? You can't hide if you. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. You can't fool God. He knows when you're angry with him. But it's what human beings do. So something else happened, though, on Sunday morning. Recognition happened. That's an R word. What do I mean by that? Well, if we look at the 24th chapter and go down to verse 31, and verse 32, well, actually, if we look at let's go to verse 30 first, because Jesus appears and they still don't know who he is, right? And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took the bread and he blessed it and he brake it and gave it to them. What's significant about that? That's what he always did. That was the last thing he did, right? He took some bread, he broke it, and he blessed it and he gave it to them. So you understand that Jesus